All right, everybody should be able to get in now. Buff 'em updates. Buff 'em updates. We're back with more Adam and Chico on the Buff 'em updates. Let's get it in. Adam, how's it going, man? We here another week of Buff 'em updates, but this week is the first week of fall camp, and everybody's been giving their analysis of what's going on. So it's time for ours. And how's it been, first of all, for the first week of fall camp?
It's great. Yeah, the season of overanalyzing everything has begun. But that's part of the fun of being a college football fan is enjoying camp and just getting those juices flowing, getting ready for the season opener. And I felt that on Monday, our first media availability after their first practice of preseason camp, was one of those moments when I walked up kind of close to where practice was, where we were setting up for interviews. And it's like, I picked the right profession because there was something inside of me that just kind of gotten awoken in that moment. And you hear the whistles and the yelling and the competitiveness on the other side of that fence. And it really is, what do they say? Chicken noodle soup for the soul. That's what that was for me
Yeah,
yesterday.
and the smelling of the grass. That's what
Yeah.
always gets me. When I smell that grass, even when I pass by my old stadium in my high school, there was a certain smell to that grass that kind of put something in me. Oh man, I'm ready for some football. So it's that time of the year again. First week of practice, we saw some highlights, of course, from Well Off Media, Reach the People Media, the pregame show, pumping out content right now. A lot of things to look at and break down, but we did see a couple of highlights from newly acquired, should I say, or a transfer coming over. That is Will Sheppard, who did his thing in the SEC, made some spectacular catches we saw on the clips that's out there right now. I know everybody's not able to see each and every play. It's just highlights, like I said.
Mhm.
But what have you been hearing as far as rumblings go? Room talkings go around the program about how Will Sheppard or anybody else has come along during the first day or two at practice.
Well, those rumblings started quite a while ago when he first became a transfer target for Colorado. And you reach out to folks that covered him at Vanderbilt and said, this kid is a stud and he's got size. He's 6'3", 205. And obviously Vanderbilt has struggled in the SEC, but he was a bright spot for that football team. And when I chatted with him over the offseason before he got on campus, it was about looking for the opportunity that was going to best put him in a position to get drafted. And that's what you should do. He accomplished a whole lot at Vanderbilt. And so going into the transfer portal, you've got to then make the best really business decision for yourself. And for him, it went beyond NIL because he saw Shedeur Sanders as one of the top returning quarterbacks in the country and what Colorado does in terms of promoting its stars. And you've seen it now the first 2 days of camp. He's made 3 incredible touchdown catches in practice. And poor Braden Keith, he's right there every time.
Yeah,
But Will Sheppard is a different type of talent. And so it's fun to see that. And I don't think there were any question marks about the fact that he was going to be a big-time player in this program this fall. But anytime you just see some evidence that kind of backs that up once they get on campus, it's always nice as a fan out there.
and it's also seeing the other guys cheering for him and being just as excited, as he is for making the play. You see those guys jumping around and happy for him also, like Jimmy Horn Jr. and DeJounte Wester were when Sheppard made those catches. So, hey, we got comments coming in. Y'all make sure y'all put the comments in, put the questions in. We're going to get to them. We are live once again. Buff 'em updates. We're back in effect like we always do. And let's get to some questions right quick and some comments. We only got a few coming in right now, but get them in while you're watching. Let's break down business getting in a Tulsa with what looked like Bentley. Uh, a tussle, should I say? I think that would be. Yeah, we saw a couple licks pass, but hey, coming from a former football player, man, that's going to happen. You're going to see guys out there on the field, especially this time of year, where things will get chippy. It's going to be some extra blocks thrown, somebody going a little bit too hard, while the other person is thinking we're not going that fast, and boom, you got licks thrown past out there, as my grandmother used to say, passing licks. So I just think it's a normal thing at practice, and it shows that competitiveness and it's stuff that Coach Prime said he was looking for last year, and just it wasn't enough of it. And so I think that's a good thing to see out there, whether it's Bentley and Benson or whoever it is. But go ahead and get chippy, dog, because this is the time of the year for that.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard from everybody at Colorado that Khalil Benson wants to get in the fight every play. So I think that is going to continue to happen. I'm curious because these guys that say Khalil wants to fight me every play on defense, they then follow it up with, but he's a cool guy off the field. So that's what you want in a football player. Obviously, you want them to be able to turn it on the second they get on that turf and turn it off the second they get off of it. I grew up playing basketball, Chico. I'm curious, what was kind of your mindset? How did you get into that, flipping the switch on and off as a player, needing that aggression once you do hit the grass?
Man, like I said, it's that smell. It could be small things like that just trigger and let you know, hey man, it's time to play. It's time, this is live time now. I would say even before that, it could be just strapping up, putting on the pads, because you're in the locker room right there and you letting everybody know it's pad day, or we're going 100% today, or full speed today, or you better watch out today. You're already talking smack in the locker room, so you know what's about to go down. So people should already know the game speed, the type of tempo we're going to practice at, and the competitive nature that's around the team like this that's being brought together from all over the place. And you got a lot of guys who want to prove their worth and who has aspirations to play in the league. So it's never going to be any time or days off, or it shouldn't be any time or days or plays or drills or reps off for anybody. It should be each and every play you're trying to prove yourself, because I'm going to tell you like this, and I saw Coach Prime coaching up the DBs. I'm going to tell you like this. There are some guys on this team that will have to step up and play well this year for this team to get to where it wants to be, to reach the goals that it wants to reach, to win as many games as they aspire to win. They're going to have to be certain players that really step up, and I'll start calling some names. McKinney, DJ McKinney at the cornerback, all of the cornerbacks who were brought in like Colton Hood, DJ McKinney, Preston Hodge. Those three guys will have to really play well this year for Colorado to be where they want to be at the end of the season. And that's just three names that I'll name right now. We'll get into the rest of them at the different positions later on. But that's what I see, and that's what really gets me in the mood once it's time to put those pads on and go full speed when camp starts right there.
Well, those cornerbacks you mentioned, they're going to be in the fire this season, because we hear they're going to play press man this season. And if that works out well, you're going to free things up for other guys on that defense. Back when Colorado last had a really successful season in 2016, they had 4 defensive backs that ended up playing in the NFL. And so they were able to do that. And you saw such a difference in terms of how it kind of freed up the defensive play calling from there. And so that group is going to have so much pressure on them this fall, the cornerback. So you might as well start applying that pressure early on in camp as coaches, for sure.
Right, because what you're gonna do? Wait during the season and say, "Hey man, you guys got to step up." No, Coach Prime and them getting on them right now, because they've been through last season. He understands, the glitz and the glamour and the lights and everything that's gonna come with it. But he also understands, man, we got to win now. We've already done the show. It's time to win now, because if we don't, it's gonna be going downhill as far as the limelight and the hype goes. We have to win. We have to put on the show. We have to be right there in the ball games, each and every ball game, to give ourselves a chance. And those guys are going to be key. Got a question down here. Let me see. Selma Johnson said, "What's good, Adam and Chico? Live. Who's some sleepers on this team? Who are some of the sleepers on this team?" I'll let you go first, Adam.
I've kind of gone back and forth with the running back competition, and especially folks that are playing EA College Football 25. They love Jalen Hayden because he's such a weapon in that game. And Charlie Offerdahl has grabbed so many of the headlines since getting on scholarship. And even Michael Welch was a big name that came in this spring, went toe-to-toe with Shiloh Sanders and worked his way up the depth chart quickly. And so those guys are all pretty Colorado fans are pretty well versed in. But Isaiah Augusta from Arkansas, I have a gut feeling right now today, and this might change 5 times until they kick off against North Dakota State, but his combination of skill set, I think he might be the lead back on this football team this fall. And so that's a sleeper that might end up being a starter on the team this year. Again, once we get in these scrimmages, that's going to work itself out. And you've got a lot of talent in that room that's going to be battling each other. But when I saw that question, that was the first name that came to mind, just because I don't think a lot of folks are talking about him. He came into a very loaded running back room in Arkansas last year, still got on the field for a 100-yard performance at Arkansas. And so small sample size, I get it, but I think he's got a lot of talent, and he's just not one of those guys. People bring up BJ Green and, again, Dallin Hayden and some of these other transfers, but not a lot of people have talked about Isaiah Augusta.
Yeah, I like him too. Size, speed, combination, big back, can be strong. Yeah, you're right. He could be that guy. I'll stay in the running back room and just give a shout out to Brandon Hood, the freshman. And you're like, a freshman? Yeah, I'm going to say a freshman because, and we'll also equate this to the game too. If you look at the game, he's the fastest one as far as speed goes, as far as the running backs. I think he has like a 96 speed. And if you listen to Pastor Smith talked about how fast he was on that track, and you saw the footage that he shared about how fast he was, this is a Dylan Edwards type, as far as speed goes, type back out of the backfield with a little bit more size on him. So a lot of people will be surprised once they actually see him full speed running the ball, just like they were when they saw Michael Welch doing this thing in the spring. They're going to be surprised, I think, about Brandon Hood. And he might not be a top 2 back on the team, but he could be one of those sleeper guys that can make just like the impact that Dylan had last year, maybe in that first game or later on down the season. But he did make an impact, even though he wasn't the lead back or the premier back, so to speak, feature back. Brandon Hood can be that guy. And then on the other side of the ball, actually, his brother, Colton Hood, the defensive back, can be a sleeper too, because like we pointed out, the DBs are essential to these guys having a bowl type season. If he can come in there and spell Travis Hunter, if he can play just as well as Preston Hood, Hodge, and McKinney, that means that we can have Travis Hunter off the field some, because we are confident in what Hood can bring. If he could be that physical cornerback, we need that, and he'll be that sleeper, I think, on the defensive side of the ball in the defensive backfield. So I'll say Hood and Hood on both sides of the ball right now will be my sleepers. So let's see here.
Pastor Edui just wants to give you a big hug right now.
Oh yeah, probably do. But I'm serious. I'm so serious.
Yeah,
with what those 2 guys can actually the impact they can have on this season.
I agree with you. Colton Hood would have been my pick on defense as well. He's a guy that would step into most programs and be an established starter by the end of camp. And at Colorado, because they've upgraded the talent there, it's a good battle that they're putting on this preseason.
Yep. I'll tell you another battle too. In the trenches, the defensive line. You have a bunch of guys there that can really play, and all of them are kind of like in the same mold. So no one really stands out other than maybe Chidozie and Anquin Barnes. The other guys are kind of in the same statue. Their play, their attitude, I think, is going to separate them as far as who's going to play more, who's going to be on the field more than the next guy. So Shane Coates, Anquin Barnes, Chidozie Nwankwo, Amari McNeil, Ryan Buell, Taufik Thomas. Who am I missing? Shoot, you got a couple of other guys in there. David Swain going to have something to say about that. That's just the inside guys I'm trying to focus on. The D tackles and the nose tackles. It's a lot of guys there that can play this year, and a lot of depth there to where we can rotate them. They can play 4-3, 3-4, passing downs. They can even come off the field in passing downs because we have a lot of rush guys with Wade and BJ Green and Okunlola and Wiggins. So the defensive line, I think, is going to be also very key to the success of the team. And we have great coaches there that we saw a glimpse of this year or this week with Damian Lewis and Warren Sapp really taking over this defensive line squad and bringing that pro mentality and that upgraded as far as communication and energy and just that look like that passion on the field. These guys are really taking heed to what they're out there teaching, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to be pretty bullish on this defensive tackles group. And if you throw BJ Green in with that group, and I've written this a few times, you could either have BJ Green listed as a D tackle or as an edge guy because he's going to kind of float around, play different techniques, in obvious passing situations. Bringing BJ Green in on third down to, play head up on that nose tackle like that. That's a nice tool to have there. So he's going to be very versatile. But if you include BJ Green in that group, you've got 8 upperclassmen that are on scholarship on that defensive line. And you were listing off all those guys, and they're all going to be part of the mix if they're healthy, it feels like, because they're all relatively established. Even, Anquan Barnes didn't play a whole lot at Alabama, but he comes in and he was actually one of the surprises of spring ball. So even the guys that hadn't played a ton at their previous stop have come in and performed pretty well. And so that is a really nice group of depth, whereas last year, maybe you could list off 4 guys, 5 guys as part of a rotation,
and it was like the other ones were still developing, and they weren't there yet. Yeah, you're exactly right.
So now they're going to have to recruit the transfer portal again, really heavy on the D line after this coming season. But when you look at this 2024 season, you've got so much experience in that group and so many guys that are hungry to get out there and make the most of their reps.
Man, excited about the whole season. I'll tell you that much. Like you said, we improved. I was trying to say we've improved each and every position from top to bottom. At the very least, you can say that. I also like the safeties back there. Shiloh, Cam, Herman Smith, Riley, Carter Stockmeyer, and you got Johnson back there. I might be forgetting a couple of guys, but you lose Rod Ward, you lose a couple Trevor Woods from safety, not a linebacker, but you bring in some guys who can really play on that back end. They can cover and they can tackle. Who's going to be on the other side of Shiloh? Even though we saw him in that gold jersey out there, we know he'll be playing. He'll be there. Some people have Cameron Silman Craig. I like Riley also, along with Craig. Who do you think we'll see back there at the safety spot?
Just the way that Shiloh and Cameron Silman Craig created turnovers last year and just kind of their overall playmaking ability, I think you got to go with those 2 guys if they're both ready to go. But yeah, Riley coming over from Miami was kind of the piece that I thought would really challenge there. But we were talking about kind of sleepers, and when you talked about Herman Smith, it popped in my head. That's another sleeper that we should mention. He played at Jackson State and had a big role on special teams, was kind of a bit player defensively there, transfers away last offseason, comes in and, since he's not coming in from another power conference program, I don't think a lot of people expected him to really factor into being a playmaker on this team. But everything I've heard since Herman Smith got on campus is he's looked the part. He's matured physically. You look at him, he looks like a well put together Big 12 safety. And so that's one of those guys that, last year, I don't know how much we were talking about Cameron Silman Craig. In fact, Miles Slusher started at nickel against TCU, and he gets hurt, and then Silman Craig takes off without opportunity. Is there an opportunity for Herman Smith to do something similar this fall? I don't know. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, but he's a guy that I think could fill in a pinch, kind of like we saw with Roger Ward last year, a guy that maybe a little bit underappreciated coming in, but and a little bit Ward was a little bit more undersized than even Herman Smith is, but a guy that maybe you're not banking on, but could come in and have a pretty big role.
And I think Cameron Sim and Craig feeds off of that. Yeah, keep having me as an underdog. Keep saying I'm too small. Keep saying I can't do this. Put me as the second teamer, and then just watch what happens when I get in the game and I actually play. Even EA Sports disrespecting my dog, Cameron Sim and Craig. They for one, he led the team in picks when he came in there. He finished, top. What he had 3 picks along with Ty, I think, with one other person, Travis. Um, and they gave him one of the lowest ratings as far as catching on the game. Speed down there gave him. He's like a third best strong safety out there, but I think that's a testament to the good safeties that we have coming in, but also EA Sports, y'all could have stepped y'all game up on that dog. Cameron Silver Craig is he is a baller, and I think he feeds off of, like I say, he feeds off of having to prove himself over and over again, and I don't think he'll have a problem doing that this year once he get on the field. Having said that, though, I do think we'll play a consistent 5 safeties. That's a lot. Why do I say that? Shiloh and Craig, Sim and Craig, will play. Carter Stockmeyer, I think, will play in a lot of situational out there on the defense side of the ball, a lot of situations out there. Then you have Riley, I think, can be a rangy safety, whether it's going to be first game of the season or middle of the season. He'll be out there a lot by the end of the season. He'll be out probably a starter or in that 3-man rotation at that safety, star, and strong safety position. And also, I like Herman Smith III. So that's 5 guys I really like at safety, but you can also play them in different areas. Like if one is better at blitzing from the safety spot, use him in that situation. One better at covering, like Stoudemire might be, use him there in a lot of man press situations. So Coach Rob Livingston said he will be putting these guys in situations to be successful at doing the best things that they can do. So I look forward to seeing that. And those 5 safeties at least will be playing a lot.
I was pretty bummed out thinking back to the spring when Jaden Milner-Jones entered the transfer portal because I enjoyed the way he just kind of flew around the field defensively as a true freshman. At times, it seemed like he didn't necessarily always know what he was supposed to be doing, but he played at 100 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, this is like, once he gets it figured out, this is an NFL guy. And so I was bummed out there. But yeah, I mean, we've had this whole discussion. You just kind of throw out Carter Stoudemire's name. And when you think about the depth and some of those guys that are going to be back for multiple years in this program, it makes Milner-Jones leaving sting a little bit less, especially I think Carter Stoudemire, because he's got that pedigree. His father, Omar, was a safety in the NFL. And I was surprised when just seeing how he was built coming out of high school that he wasn't jumping right in to the safety position. But he had some positive moments at cornerback last season and tried to come back from that injury and had to kind of rehab this offseason. And so, again, another guy that's kind of on the back burner in terms of our thoughts a lot of the time, but a guy that is going to be a really good player for Colorado in the coming years.
Yes. More action from fall camp. I will be breaking down some of this stuff on my channel also, as far as looking at some of the footage and doing like I did last year, breaking it down. We did see different rotations on the offensive line. Tyler Brown at the right guard. Hank Zielinski was at center. But we saw, I couldn't tell who it was, but I think number 70 was at the right tackle, not Khalil Benson. It might have been Hummel out there.
Hummel, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hummel at the right tackle. So different rotations being played with right now in that first unit to see, I think, who's going to how they're going to work well together, what's going to work best together. Will Mayers at the left guard work well with Hank Zielinski at center, or Tyler Johnson should come in there at the right guard instead of Tyler Brown? The offensive line is probably one of the units on the team that has to be the most cohesive as far as playing well together and communicating together and being on one, one string or one accord, so to speak. So 5 guys, you have to find 5 guys that can play there and protect Shedeur Sanders. Off the top right now, put you on the spot. Who could those 5 guys be?
Well, just to start, Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say if Coach Adam was out there.
It's the first unit you saw at the first practice, I think. Jordan Seaton, left tackle, Tyler Brown, left guard, Hank Zielinski, center, Justin Mayers, right guard, and then Khalil Benson, right tackle.
Okay.
I would say that, I mean, just to lead off there, you've got 8 offensive linemen that are better than what they had last year, right? So that's where you start with. And so you do have to rotate through there. And like you said, kind of figure out some different pieces. And this is the time to really make sure that you can work those different matchups. If Khalil Benson got hurt and you need to put Wyatt Hummel at right tackle, you've got some of those reps under your belt. And I think also it helps to kind of mix up the first group to just create motivation throughout camp, right?
Yeah.
If you've got that same group and they might get comfortable. Yes, you want them to build that chemistry, but at the same time, if they're sitting back thinking that I got this spot locked up, then you're not going to get the best performance out of them. So I think it's twofold. I think you get different combinations to get some of those reps together. And then you can test a Wyatt Hummel. What does he look like with that, first team group? But then also you keep those guys making sure they're going to the meeting room attentive every day. Yeah,
you're exactly right. You don't want them to be, hey, I've been playing the video game for the last month and I see myself as the starter, so I know I'm the starter. So no, dog, you got to stay working. You got to go out here and prove yourself. As a matter of fact, as a coach, just like Phil Loho might have done, we're going to mix it up today. Hummel, you go in at right tackle and you go in, I like that what he's doing. And like you said, it will create a situation where it'll be like, hey, for one, a competition. For two, we might need another guy to come in, and you guys are going to have to learn how to communicate with him too, and vice versa. And that's going to go back and forth, and it's going to help us in the long run when one of you guys do go down, because it's going to happen. Somebody's going to go down, and we're going to need to plug and play and not miss a beat. And that's what I like Coach Lodeholt is doing right now. And if you go on the other side of the ball, we all saw, and shout out to Mark Johnson, the voice of the Buffs. My guys, the coldest guy reporting right now because he wear the cowboy hats. You know what I mean? Looking good. But Trevor Woods was on there. He said he weighed himself last year before one of the games, and he was at 198 at linebacker. This year, he weighed himself right before that interview. I think he said, and he was at 217. I think he can get up to about 220 around game time, but sometimes people actually could lose weight during camp because you're going so much. But with the nutrition program that we have and the food that they have 3 times a day, 7 days a week, you shouldn't lose any weight the way that they have it set up. But just talk about Trevor Woods and him actually gaining that weight, being at a more of a linebacker type weight now, how much that can help him being a lot better at the linebacker spot this year.
Well, I want to start with Mark Johnson first because he's the man. And actually, today is his birthday. So happy birthday, Mark Johnson. Happy birthday, voice of the Buffs.
The voice of the Buffs.
And that voice is his voice. That's not manufactured. Right. If you've ever been around Mark, you know when he's in the room because that voice just booms. Yeah.
Right.
But it's great. He's a great guy. Trevor Woods putting that weight on is pretty impressive. And just it kind of looks like he's got some joy in his life right now because he said it that quarterbacks aren't really paying as much attention to the linebackers. And so you can play some fun tricks in coverage like he did yesterday. He had back-to-back picks like you'd mentioned there. And that is probably invigorating for somebody that put in that hard work in the offseason, because it would be easy for me to go from 198 to 217 with a 44-year-old's metabolism. But when you're Trevor Woods' age, like you legit have to eat all the time to be able to put that weight on. And so it's a problem that most of us wish we could work on, but it actually is a challenge.
I'll tell you this, it's something I actually had to do in my college career because I played wide receiver. I came in as a tight end, defensive end, got stuck on the offensive side of the ball, went from tight end about 235 to wide receiver, where I dropped down to about 215. And then a couple years later, after I redshirted, coach said, okay, we need you to put back on some weight. So I need you to get up to like 245. So, oh, great. Eat all the time and work out all the time, But Trevor looks good with his. It was a point with mine. I had a big old stomach. I looked like an offensive lineman at one point. I had to cut back. So Trevor looks well. Looks like he has it in the right places, and I think it's going to really bode him well in the run game. And you see, he's still a smart, heady guy in that passing game, where he can get back-to-back picks. You hardly rarely see a player get back-to-back picks. You don't see a team getting back-to-back picks, but one player getting back-to-back picks, that says something about Trevor Woods and his pass coverage, which is what he excels at on the defensive side of the ball. So shouts out to Trevor for putting that work in. I know what it takes. So looking forward to seeing you really bust some heads on that defensive side of the ball at the linebacker spot. A lot of competition there with Trevor Woods, Levante Bentley, Nakai Hill-Green, LeJontay Wester, B. Gant, and a bunch of freshmen coming in. Who are your starters before we get up out of here? Last question.
Okay. Well, first off, we got something to talk about here. My main takeaway there, Big Dog Chico, is that if you had Chef Carl Solomon in your life back when you were playing college football, you might still be playing. That's my main takeaway.
You know what I mean? Because hey,
what were you eating to gain that weight?
See, that's the thing. That's the $1 million question. I loaded up on the wrong stuff. We didn't have 3 meals a day, 7 days a week from a Chef Carl Solomon back then. No, dog. I was eating Chick-fil-A. There was a chicken strip place down there called Al's. I was eating Full Moon Barbecue. I was eating Dreamland Barbecue. Shouts out to them. Jimmy Nick's Barbecue in Birmingham, Alabama. So that's what I was eating.
That sounds like a fun weekend, but not necessarily what a Division I athlete should be eating.
Unfortunately, not at all.
But your question was starters at linebacker. Is that correct?
Yeah, starters at linebacker.
You got to go Trevor Woods and Bentley at this point, but they get the pads on, and I want to see what Hill-Green does, and Wester, and I'm forgetting somebody big there.
Bentley, Woods,
Johnny Cheney Jr. He's a sleeper there. Yeah,
that's a big sleeper. You're right.
You've got some pieces in there, and again, that's the competition that's going to kind of raise up the level, you would hope. And I mean, you hear Woods catch 2 interceptions in the first practice of camp, so it's hard to go away there. And I just really liked what Bentley did in the second half of the season. If you just looked at like the last 6 games of last year, you'd have to be super high on what his potential is for this season.
Most definitely. Shouts out to Levante Bentley out of Birmingham, Alabama. Crystal Wise Williams, we appreciate the $10 super chat. Trevor said he feels really good and feels better on the line. Definitely. When he's up in that box, I think he's, with the extra weight on him, he's going to feel a lot more confident taking on those blockers, getting off the blocks, and just playing more like a linebacker. Coach Prime compared him to the Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher, who played safety in college but then transitioned to the linebacker spot and became a great one for the Bears. Could that be Trevor Woods? He's in about the same mode. Although Urlacher was about 6'4", I think. He was a big linebacker as far as height goes. Trevor Woods, about 6'1", 6'2" or so. Standing next to Mark Johnson, who Mark makes a lot of people look small. He didn't look small standing next to Mark. He looked, right there. So I think he's a legit 6'2".
Yeah, I agree with you. And that was maybe the best indicator that Trevor Woods has really worked hard this offseason. He said it in the press conference, but just having that visual evidence, because you're right, Mark is a big guy.
Yeah, most definitely. So, hey, shout out to you for coming on once again and joining, or should I say, let me rewind. Shouts out to both of us for coming together and doing this together. You know what I
Love it.
mean? Yeah, I'm not joining. You're not joining. We're coming together and doing this as a joint venture. And let everybody know where to find you
At AdamCM777 on X/Twitter. And right now, actually, on BuffStampede.com, we're running a 60% off promotion with camp kicking off. So if you want to get the latest recruiting updates, and in fact, Colorado just had Zane DeSouza from Loveland High School, a local recruit in the 2025 class, on campus today. And so we're charting all the recruiting. If you want to join up right now, is a pretty good time to do so.
Yes, that's 60% off for buffstampede.com. Are you serious? That's something you need to take advantage of right now if you haven't already. Go get on there, check it out, get all the latest, buffstampede.com, and learn some stuff that you don't know right now. Get the insights right now. All right. I see people checking in right here. Y'all hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share this thing. Crystal Wise Williams, Bianca. Oh, now Bianca. Who else? Taylor Made and everybody else. Selma, Portia Set Tripping, Best Man, Nine Folds Finest. Hey, we appreciate y'all checking in. Y'all know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe, comment. Find me on Facebook at Big Dog Chico Sports Talk, Twitter, Chico Cleveland, or Big Dog Chico Show. And also you can log on and get you some merch, support your boy, and everything like that. So I think that'll be it, Adam. This is our live, and we'll be back with some more to keep y'all updated for the next week of Buffs fall camp football right here. Stay tuned. All right, we'll be back with some more. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff. We up about the same piece in the middle. Yeah.